What's up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of According to Blake, presented by Brown Sugar Babe. I am so excited to be joined today by you all's favorite fragrance girly in the world. And soon, not only will she be fragrance content creator, mental health professional, but she will be a brand founder. Today, I am joined by Funmi Monet.
Hi, Blake.
Hi, sister.
Hey, girl.
I'm so happy that you're here. You're here for Fragrance Foundation Awards. Are you excited for that tonight?
So excited.
How many times have you been to the Fragrance Foundation Awards?
This is my third time, and this is my first time as a founder. So super exciting.
Well, next year you'll be nominated.
Like,
I'm claiming that next year you'll be nominated.
It's feeling like my Cowboy Carter year.
It's always, I was telling somebody, it feels like Fragrance Foundation Awards, to those that aren't familiar, it's like the Oscars of fragrance.
Yeah, this is our big moment.
These are huge.
This is a huge industry event where some of the biggest brands, new launches, and then perfumers are also recognized for their talents and contributions.
Yep.
And one of the things that I find really interesting about these awards is that they actually allow the public to vote for them. So they do internal nominations within the Fragrance Foundation, and then they open it up to the public to vote and, kind of let us know what they were feeling that year.
We're going to get to that because I want to get your predictions actually on who wins tonight. This is, of course, going to come out some weeks, maybe even a month later, but I want to know if you are correct. But I want to start from the top, of course, because I told you when we were in Miami, was that last week that we were in Miami?
Girl,
there's so much going on.
So
we were
much.
just together in Miami last week, and I was telling you that the first time I ever saw you on TikTok was in 2022.
Ooh.
And you made a video because you had bought a custom make Porsche. And there was a guy who made a comment and said, why would you buy a car that you can't pronounce? And you made a post that I think has close to 750,000 likes alone.
Insane.
In which you basically said, babes, they don't care how I pronounce it. They care if the check clears.
Exactly.
So at that time in 2022, were you a fragrance creator at that time?
I was already creating fragrance content.
Okay.
It was really just a one-off post. It was very unrelated to my regular content. It was just me being very excited about making a purchase that, truthfully speaking, I never would have predicted I would be buying a Porsche. Honestly, like when I went into my career as a mental health professional, I mean, it's not really a job people go in to make a lot of money in. Like it's not, you really go into it thinking I'm going to help people and then hopefully make a decent living. So buying that was just such a big moment for me. I shared it, and then that person did comment. I said, how dare you? My check cleared.
And was that the first? You had gone viral, I'm sure, plenty of times before. Was that the first time you had gone viral, though, for talking like that to the camera?
Absolutely. My fragrance content was going viral all the time. Every week, new fragrance content was getting pushed into the algorithm. But that was my very first time kind of stepping outside of my regular content style. And it's insane because I ran into someone at a fragrance store. It's actually a lady that owns a fragrance store. And she said, Funmi, this is so crazy, but I saw your video. And she said, and I said the same thing. I didn't even know it was pronounced Porsche. I've been calling it Porsche all these years.
I had been calling it Porsche all those years. And I was like, oh, wait, it's pronounced Porsche.
Which is interesting because that lady, she's one of the wealthiest women I know. And so for her, she's like, I don't know how things are pronounced. My check clears.
You taught a lot of us a lot of things that day. All of us were like, oh, it's a Porsche. Yeah. So at that time, though, like you said, you are licensed. I think that's important to say. She's a licensed, in this day and age, she is a licensed mental health professional. I want to talk about how you got into that, how you found yourself into that career trajectory.
I've always really been interested in psychology, understanding people, and also empowering people. So I took psychology in high school and I fell in love. And when it was time to go to college, there was really just one career path for me. Now, at the time, I was hoping it would be psychiatrist. Every Nigerian parent hopes their child will become a doctor.
Doctor in front of it.
And honey, when I took Chem 1, I was like, oh, there's like 5 more chems. Like there's 5 more science classes after this.
Oh, are there, to be?
Oh my gosh, to go into pre-med? Oh, it's very science heavy. I said, maybe that's not my jam.
That's why the girlies are like, look, doctor
Shout out
is
to the
nothing
pre-med girls.
Is nothing to
sneeze at.
Yes.
But then I realized, you know what? I don't have to be a psychiatrist. I can still work in, mental health and maybe in a different capacity. And so from there, I realized I could take a path through getting a master's degree in counseling. And that's what I ended up doing.
Now, fragrance, where did fragrance come into all of that?
I've always been a fragrance girl.
Okay.
So interestingly enough, I have loved fragrance my entire life. My mom used to sell Avon. So
Okay. So your mom was the original beauty
my
girl.
mom was the original beauty
Okay.
girl. So I would, sneak fragrance from her counter. And then, in middle school and high school, my mom would always buy me Britney Spears Fantasy.
Oh
So
my God, I remember Britney Spears.
I feel like that's everybody's like first
I remember.
fragrance.
So do you know what's interesting? I think my first was Britney Spears Fantasy and then Juicy Couture.
Oh, Juicy. You be Juicy girl.
And then
I can
Juicy,
see
I
it.
know,
I can see
your
it.
little
I can
Juicy
see it.
Couture.
It's very glam.
It's very glam. Viva la glam.
It's
Very glam.
yeah. And then, I ended up working at the fragrance counter when I was in grad school. Like, so during grad
Okay.
school, I needed a job. And I worked at the fragrance counter at Dillard's. And that's when I really started understanding fragrance. Like,
Correct.
the helping people to also, people that would come to the counter, helping them to discover new fragrances
Yeah.
and realizing how excited people are to wear fragrances that are outside of what they normally choose.
Correct.
So it just became so fun that I realized as I'm creating content, I started creating content in 2018.
Okay.
People gravitated towards fragrance content. They were
Yeah.
fascinated by it.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because I was talking to Makeda, who,
Mhm.
if you guys don't know, is the founder of Brown Sugar Babe. And when did you discover your nose?
Oh, that's so interesting. I think I really discovered it when I started working at the counter, honestly. Like, I became exposed to so many brands at the same time. So
Mhm.
every day, I would spend hours sniffing and understanding how things smell different. And
Right.
then also understanding how to guide people when they would come to the counter asking for things. When people would say, oh, I'm just, a soft girl. Like, I just like something clean and fresh. Oh, I know exactly what you should wear.
Yes.
Oh, I actually like to smell really sweet and fruity. I like fruity smells. Oh, I know exactly what you should try. I
Correct.
want something really bold. I love florals. I want something really bold and audacious. Oh, I know the perfect thing for you.
Here's the thing. I think I'm at the point I love fragrance, but there is something so fascinating to me about the fragrance talk community in the
Mhm.
way that you all's noses are so sophisticated.
Mhm.
Have you ever taken any? Well, you have actually. You have taken formal training, but before your recent formal training,
Mhm.
had you had any education around notes, around all of those things, or you really just kind of picked it up as you go?
Definitely a self-taught thing.
Okay.
And I realized the biggest thing with not just working at the counter, but also being a fragrance creator is that you become the resource that people go to so they don't have to spend the whole day at the counter. If
Right.
you know, hey, I like cherry perfumes, I don't want to go to the counter and smell every single fragrance until I find a cherry perfume.
Right.
I can go to Fumi's page and she's going to tell me 5 cherry perfumes that are available at Sephora, 5 cherry perfumes that are available at Nordstrom, 5 cherry perfumes that are available on Amazon. And I can go and get exactly what I want without having to spend my time researching it. So I always try to position myself as like a resource to help people find exactly what they need versus being like a sales pusher. Like, for me, it
Mhm,
wasn't, okay, you have
mhm.
to use my affiliate link and I have to get this commission. It was, I want to help you get exactly what you want. If you tell me you want cherry, I'm not going to show you a bunch of chocolate fragrances or a bunch
Correct.
of jasmine. I'm going to tell you exactly what you want.
Well, so I guess in that and being an expert, you have to know
Yeah,
every fragrance, right?
absolutely.
Whereas those of us who really just see ourselves as kind of the fragrance consumer
Hmm.
are allowed to say, for example, my mom hates rose.
Okay.
She thinks that rose is like absolutely terrible. Is there a note that you're like, I'm not touching? I know that you'll smell it,
Hmm.
of course, because you're a student of it.
Yeah.
But is there that you're like, I'm not spraying this on myself?
There are certain notes that, especially animalics, that they're so strong that I find them unpleasant for me to wear. Well,
Okay.
I sometimes will smell things. It's funny because I consider fragrances in 2 categories: things I enjoy wearing, and then things that are interesting to smell. There are a lot of things that are interesting. It's like art, right? There's a
Yes.
lot of things that are interesting to smell or interesting
Yes.
to look at
Correct.
that you wouldn't necessarily want to hang in your home.
Yes.
Or even clothing. Like, there's a lot of like
Yes.
couture, right? Sometimes I'll
Yes.
see an amazing outfit and I'm like, oh, this is a work of art. Now, I couldn't wear this to work or wear
Correct.
this like on a date or
Right.
realistically see this hanging in my closet, but I appreciate it for what it is. And so
Uh,
sometimes I see perfumery the same way.
okay. So there's some that you just wouldn't use for yourself, but you know them.
Yeah.
Like you can
It's
identify
usually
them.
animalics that are like a little bit too extreme for me for what I
Okay.
prefer to wear.
Okay.
But generally speaking, I found it interesting now, especially developing my own fragrance brand, that there are notes that while I find them challenging as far as maybe not being something I would enjoy wearing,
Mhm.
I'm like, well, what if I found a way to make it fun and a way to make it
Yes.
wearable and a way to make
Yes.
it a little bit more an interesting addition to this like fragrance composition I'm doing.
Did you do that with Inflections? We're going to get to Inflections in a minute, but is that are there any notes in anything from Inflections that you're like, I actually hated this, guys, but then we flipped it, dipped it, and now I love it?
There are some things that I normally wouldn't wear on its own, like as a raw material, like as a solo note carrying the show. I'm like, this might be a little bit too much for me.
Right.
And then finding ways to give it an interesting zhuzh into like the fragrance composition has been, I think, one of the things that makes creating fragrances interesting. Because I've always said creating a pretty fragrance is really easy. Because I mean, because you know what people like. So it's like, okay, everyone wants to smell like chocolate chip cookie dough.
Yeah,
so,
right now all the girls want to gourmand girlies. Everybody's a gourmand girl.
Strawberry cupcake.
Me.
Chocolate chip cookie dough. We all want to smell edible and delicious.
Yes.
I get it. Ankle approved.
Yes.
But then what happens when we get over it and we want something that's a little bit more interesting?
Yeah.
It says a little bit more about you, how you feel, where you're going, maybe your headspace. That's where Inflections enters.
So you, speaking of ankle approved, you were the person that told me that I was not spraying enough perfume. I watched that video. How many sprays did you? It was a lot. And now that's why when all the girls are like, you're spraying a lot of perfume, I'm like, well, Funmi told me that I'm not spraying enough.
Yeah.
How many sprays do you spray and where do you spray them?
Okay, so this is so interesting because when I tell people how many sprays I use, they act like I'm covering myself in nuclear waste.
Yes.
But I'm like, I swear to you, Blake, you're sitting across from me. I'm wearing 100 sprays of perfume today. Can you tell?
You're wearing 100 sprays.
I'm wearing 100 sprays of perfume today.
And you mean that in the literally?
I mean it literally. From like head to toe, I'm wearing 100 sprays.
How long does 100 sprays take you?
Honestly, I might have the strongest finger in the
That's
West.
What I was about to say.
So...
so is it? We have that segment.
So there's math. I call it perfume math. But there's math because you think about, having an equitable amount spread across your entire body. So I usually do roughly like maybe anywhere from 15 to 20 sprays like across each segment of my body.
Yes, because you put them behind the ankles, put it behind the knees,
thighs, back of the shoulders, create a nice bubble.
Okay, so I'll do 50. Now I do want to get into, because one thing that I did not realize is how messy fragrance talk, frag heads, frag talk can be.
It's the fumes, the perfume fumes.
It is the fumes.
The fumes.
So I am going to read you this one, and I only really knew from you. There was a creator that you had I don't even know if it was a back and forth with, because you said verbatim, I'm signing Sephora contracts and partnerships. He's selling dog food and carpet cleaner on TikTok Live. We are not peers in this.
Oh my gosh. Whoa. That was me.
So I want to talk about, because I think one of the big things, and it will perfectly segue into the next talking point, which is being Black in the space. I think that when I saw the video, and a lot of other women saw the video, and why we came to your defense without even really knowing what we were defending, was because there were such racial undertones to the way that you were being addressed.
And there always is. And that's why it's like the dog whistling.
Yeah.
They always are able to say, that's not what I meant. That's not what I said. I'm like, okay, but the connotations, the undertones, this is kind of giving something else.
Correct.
And as Black women, we know.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
Because we've seen it. We've experienced it.
So how does when you see, because it's not just, like I said, there's been mess on Fragrance Talk before. How do you manage that? Manage staying out of it, but also, like you did with that, making it clear, like, okay, so I understand, but don't play with me.
Yeah, that's it. That's literally it.
Yeah.
I always say I'm going to drop one line. It's like with everything. I'm not going to.
Funmi, that was a powerful line. That much like the Porsche.
Oh my gosh.
The Porsche. I would not want to argue with you.
I said, how embarrassing for you.
That is exactly. Well, it was not the way that you. It was not what you said. It was how you said it. You said, "How embarrassing for you." There was such a. You are. Have you always been this, like, do you think that it is the mental health professional in you that is like, we're just going to shut this down?
Yeah. I think it's my dad. Something my dad always talks to my dad. No, and not in that kind of way. One thing my dad said to me growing up that always stuck with me is that, like, being diplomatic is the ability to tell someone to go to hell and they look forward to the trip.
Oh.
Like, oh, well, I hope you have a great time on the way to hell.
Selling dog food and carpet cleaner on TikTok Live, we're not peers in the space, would make me want to never speak on you.
I wasn't wrong though. I wouldn't say anything if I hadn't seen it.
I mean, you are an academic.
It was not an exaggeration.
You're an academic.
You understand? I always had to back my resources.
There are sources.
There's a source.
There's a source. There has to be a source. When I tell you that was so, I lived for that. But it is interesting, when you saw that and you saw these women coming to your defense, particularly I was under the comments. Dana, who's been on the podcast, was under the comments. I absolutely love and adore Dana. How does it feel when you see all of the support that you get from women, particularly Black women, on social media?
Very grateful.
Yeah.
Very grateful because this is my community. This is where I live. This is my neighborhood. And so knowing, when I see Black women coming together like this, I think this is how I grew up. Like, this is what I'm familiar with. So it honestly only makes sense to me. But being part of the community also means being a good neighbor to the people within your community. 100%. I think that you can live somewhere and be in a space and not be a good neighbor. And so when people see you, like, someone's coming for you, or your house is on fire, they might be like, she was out there. She was kind of shitty last week. At one time she kicked my dog.
Yep.
Or she.
And now they're like, she's just gonna have to burn.
Like, well, good luck to her.
Have to burn.
Thoughts and prayers. And so I always like. Well, I'm very grateful for it. I also know I feel like a deep comfort in myself, like in my heart.
Yeah.
Because this is my community. Like these are my people.
There was in 2020, I wrote a feature story for the Zoe Report about being Black in fragrance, and it was my first time ever. Speaking to Chris Collins, which we're going to get to.
My work husband.
We are going to get to Chris Collins. It was my first time ever connecting with Linda Levy. And during that time, I talked about how few Black perfumers there were. Particularly at the time, Chris was the only Black perfumer in luxury retailers, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to talk about breaking into that space. When you started making fragrance content, did you go in knowing, okay, I'm going to be, one of a few, and not even one of a few, because now we see it everywhere, but at the time, kind of one of a few making waves like this? Or did you just make the content and then came oh, right, I'm a Black woman doing this?
I think in this instance, the egg came before the chicken, because I started doing this as just something for fun.
Yeah.
There wasn't really a pathway for fragrance content like on TikTok. I started making fragrance content on TikTok in 2020 during the pandemic because so many of my content creator friends were blowing up doing makeup and skincare content. And they're like, no, Funmi, your fragrance content is so good on Instagram. I know you're already on YouTube too, but you should post this on TikTok. And I thought, well, I don't really know. Like at the time, it still was a dancing app.
100%.
It still
Charlie
was a dancing
D'Amelio
app.
was big in 2020, 2021. Yes.
And so I didn't understand how I could create fragrance in short form content. But I thought, I'm at home. I might as well. And so it just really became something that people became fascinated by. Because I brought so many interesting and diverse fragrances to this platform where people were mostly used to shopping at Ulta or Sephora. And now it's like, oh, this fragrance brand from like Dubai. Oh, this fragrance brand from like Turkey. Oh, this fragrance brand from Brazil. Oh, this fragrance brand from China. And now they're becoming exposed to a whole new universe of fragrance.
I think that has been in following creators like you and getting to know more women in fragrance. That has been the most interesting part. Is like, we're so used to the Tom Fords, the Armanis, but discovering all of these niche fragrance brands that are better, that stay longer.
More interesting.
What are some of your favorite niche fragrance brands that the average girl doesn't know about?
I just came back from Milan from this fragrance expo. And I go every year because besides being a fragrance founder, I just genuinely love perfume. Like, I'm always interested in knowing what are interesting ingredients that people are using, what are interesting packaging designs that we're seeing, And for me, it's about the innovation and seeing how people are doing it globally. One of my favorite brands that I kind of would say brought to the forefront was a brand called Simone Andreoli. He's an Italian perfumery brand. And he has a fragrance called Leisure in Paradise that's like this gorgeous pina colada like type scent. It was the original ankle approved fragrance in 2021. And it's interesting because at the time he had like a very small distribution in the US.
Okay.
But there was a perfume store in Dallas where I picked up his fragrance. I posted about it. It went super viral. And to this day, every time I see him in Italy, he's like, Funmi, I will never forget how you blew me up in the US. Like, I had a really small distribution, like a very tiny pool of customers. And now it's like, I can't even keep anything in stock. Like, the fragrance was out of stock for months. Like, we'd restock it would go out. And there's so
So
many
that means I
brands
have
like
to go
that.
get it
Oh, you
too.
need to try it. I'll get you a bottle.
Okay, please.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so so knowing that and seeing, you spent years seeing what goes into fragrance brands, being a fragrance creator, at what point did you leave your mental health profession, leave the mental health profession, and then B, decide, all right, now I'm ready to become a brand founder?
There was one specific moment where I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore.
Okay.
And it was 2024. I just come back from Thailand on a brand trip. At the time, I was still balancing content creation and also being a therapist.
Yep.
And I was still taking clients. Like, I was still seeing clients actively. So I had taken a
You
class
would
at
be like,
4 a.m. Thailand time. And I was just thinking to myself, I don't think that I can do this anymore because I'm traveling so much for work that I don't feel as though I'm able to be as present for my clients.
100%.
I hate canceling appointments, especially because in my mind, I'm like, I'm canceling for a vacation, like something frivolous. And these are people that really, they need mental health services.
Yep.
So at that point, I realized that it might be in the best interest of my clients for me to say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to recommend you to some other people. You can take your pick. But like, this is a new phase for me now. Like, maybe I'm entering a new chapter and it's time that I put all my energy into this thing. And shortly after that, that's when we started working on Influxious. So the timing was just incredible.
It was almost immediate.
Almost immediate.
Now, okay, we're talking about being a brand founder, especially right now. Before you got here, we were literally talking about money.
Ooh.
Things are so expensive right now.
Everything
is
Everything
expensive.
costs money.
I know how much it costs just to do this podcast. I cannot even fathom how much it costs to start a brand, let alone a fragrance brand. Where do you even start? Fragrance is not as simple as I'm going to just do it. What is the starting point for this?
There's so many different paths that people can take to create a fragrance. My problem is I chose the path less traveled because I was starting from a unique position because I'd already launched a collaboration. So I'd already had a fragrance that did really well. But I realized with going into this new chapter with launching a brand, I needed to distinguish that essentially this is a brand I plan to keep around. Like, this is a brand and not another collaborative project, especially because at the time I was in the Sephora Accelerate. So I really didn't want people thinking, well, maybe this is just like a Sephora collaboration with Funmi to launch a fragrance.
Correct.
I said, I need to like really put something really hot out the gate, and I needed to do a collection.
Is that when... So we're not talking about Exalte.
So Exalte was my first fragrance. That was the first collaboration.
I loved it.
So good.
I know, mine shattered. That was very sad.
Did I say you another one?
No, but remember I did tell you. So if you have any laying around, it's so good. But
I might have one in my back pocket.
Okay, just let me know. Just let me know. So okay, so you were like, I got to come out the gate.
Yeah, because I need to like distinguish that this is my own project and not a collaboration. And when people ask about collaborations, I always use like other creators that have had collaborations. Like, for example, Tony Bravo had a collaboration with Tower 28 when they launched
the blush. Yes.
But like, it's Tower 28, like that's the brand. And the blush is the product.
Correct.
That was the collaboration.
Right. There's no ownership in that. Yeah. No substantial ownership in it.
So it's creative direction, and there's, the contributions you do to marketing the product, but you don't own it. And once it's done, And so that's what it was like with Exalte. But now with Influxious, I said, I need to go above and beyond to establish this is my fragrance house. Like the same way Kayali is Mona's fragrance house, Chris Collins has his fragrance house. Mm-hmm. You're putting out products consistently. This is my fragrance house. So it's not one and done. It's not catch it if you can. Like, this is, God willing, here to stay.
Yeah.
And so I needed to put out a diverse selection. And that is what was really challenging because it's so expensive.
So if you are down to let us know how expensive, how much for what you're doing? How much does somebody need starting off to start a fragrance brand?
I don't think that you need to do as much as I did.
Okay.
But I will tell you this. There were several factors that made this project cost as much as it did.
Okay.
One, having multiple SKUs. So we did 4 fragrances.
Yes.
Different sizes of the fragrances. Yep. And then we also did a discovery set. And a lot of brands won't do a discovery set at launch because they don't make money.
Well,
you lose money on them.
Yeah.
And so even I brought up as an example, like when Fenty launched their fragrance in 2021. I remember I moved to Dallas that year. They launched one size, and that was it.
They
No
did.
samples, no travels, this is all we got.
And they never expanded. Yeah.
But like I use Fenty as an example because this is a LVMH backed brand. Like, these people have millions of dollars, and they launched one fragrance with no samples. So me coming in with I don't have an LVMH backing. I don't have a major investor. I'm literally just a girl. And I'm offering a discovery set. I'm offering multiple sizes.
Yeah.
Like, this is a really big endeavor. And a lot of brands, like, when you look at the long-term value in offering multiple sizes, a lot of them, they won't even offer multiple sizes because people will opt for the smaller size. Like, you have to really believe that your product is so good that people will want to buy
100%,
the bigger size.
100%. Okay, so again, I got to come
Okay,
back
I know.
to
You want to,
I'm sorry.
I was trying to dance around. I was
The
trying to be cute.
journalist in
Okay.
me is like, you have to give
Okay, I'll give you
a ballpark.
I'll give you a ballpark. I will say that between 2024 and now, that by the time I launch at Sephora, I will have spent at least $500,000.
Like you need, like,
it's a lot.
It is a lot.
I will have spent that by launch. And that's just over the last 2 years. But that also includes the fact that I hired fractional employees. So I have a really good team. I'm not doing this by myself.
Okay.
I could not. This is a really heavy lift.
Yeah.
Because we're launching in Sephora.
Now, I want to talk about that. And I love shopping in Sephora. But in full transparency, a lot of founders have not spoken highly of being in Sephora.
Understandable.
When you had to decide where to retail, how to retail, I know the Sephora Accelerator has something, of course, to do with that. But you are somebody, like you said, who knows business, who, you're not green to this. What were the deciding factors that made you say, all right, we're going to go into Sephora? And not only are we going to go into Sephora, but we're going to go into Sephora at launch.
Well, I think the biggest thing was my relationship with Sephora.
Okay.
So I got into the Sephora squad in 2022. That was
before this.
Before all of this. And I got into Sephora specifically because they saw me as an authority on fragrance on social media. So they said, when we talked with them, they said, we consider you the go-to girl for fragrance. So from that relationship, Sephora developed a very deep trust in my recommendations and also the appreciation that my audience had when I talked about things. Like, if I'm saying I like this, it's because I do genuinely like it.
Oh, yeah, I buy from you.
Yeah.
Because you're also very open when you don't like things.
Yeah, if I don't like it. And I turn down brand opportunities if I don't like the fragrance. Like, there's been a lot of times my manager has come to me with, hey, this brand would like to work with you. And I said, oh, I did make a few jokes about them. Ooh.
And the thing about the girls, they will pull the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I told her that. I said, now, it's 5 different times I joked about this brand. And they will pull the receipts.
They will clip them.
Yeah,
and they'll even do a little montage
they love
for
it.
you.
This you. This you? Oh, they
love
that.
I mean, I always think about poor, I know she bipolarized. Michaela Nogueira and Mascara Gate. Like, I always come back to that because I'm like, you have to be so careful. Today's episode is presented by Brown Sugar Babe. My favorite compliment ever, and I do mean ever, is Blake, you smell good. And let me tell you something, ever since Brown Sugar Babe became a staple of my body care routine, I get that compliment every single day. The oil fragrance brand is truly one of a kind, and it is trailblazing for all of the girlies who want to smell good, but also want to make sure that they are hydrated and moisturized all day long. What's even better is that many of Brown Sugar Babe's fragrances are inspired by some of our favorite eau de parfum out there with a price tag that really breaks the bank. But here, you get added bang for your buck and you still smell like those fragrances that we've admired for so long. Even better, it is sensitive, skin friendly, so you don't have to worry about, can I use these if I have sensitive skin, if I have eczema? I am here to confirm that it was created and founded by a woman who made sure that she considered all skin types, all body types when she was creating these oils. Oh, and let me just add, they now have shimmer oils for my girls who want to glow all through summer and all through every season. So, if you guys are ready to enter your Brown Sugar Babe era like I have, make sure you check them out at brownsugarbabe.net and prepare to be amazed. Okay, now back to Sephora.
No, really. Like, so with my relationship with Sephora, the Sephora Accelerate opportunity actually came from that. because I'd had my fragrance Exulte. I would always pass it out at Sephora events to all the Sephora girls.
Yep.
And I always say that people underestimate the art of schmoozing. Because it really, all of this came from the ability to schmooze with people, to, rub elbows, ask how you're doing. And by the way, this is my product. I think you would enjoy it.
You're good for that for me. Every time I see you, you have something for me to smell. Because me and Asia had tested those months ago.
Yes.
At the dinner in Brooklyn. That was before there was bottles. That was before, okay. Yeah, you are good at that.
Yeah.
And then they fall in love with it and they're like, we need to work with them.
But it's about also connecting with people. Like for me, ultimately, social media is really the social part of media. It's making connections online and in person. It's not just about connecting with your audience and getting likes and reshares and going viral, but when you see these people in person, leaving an impression. And so from that, like literally specifically just from my relationship from Sephora Squad, Sephora came to me and said, hey, I don't know if you've ever considered launching your own fragrance brand. Like we know you had your collab, but if you ever think about it, we have a Sephora Accelerate that we think you would be a great fit for.
Got it.
And it was like,
they were like,
and I said, well, I don't have a fragrance. I actually don't have a, I'm like, well, I actually don't have a fragrance brand. Like, that's so funny. Like, maybe I'll consider it in the future.
So it wasn't something that in that moment
because I knew that if I wanted to do a fragrance brand, it would cost. Like, I know it's going to be expensive. At the time, I'm not going to lie, at the time, I was enjoying life. I was spending my money on myself. I was taking trips, it was nice.
But it's your kid. The way that my parents will say, like, they're going on vacations now. And I was like, y'all weren't doing this. They were like, because we're putting 2 kids through college. Like, there really are things you have to stop doing to pour into your kid.
Absolutely. And so at that moment, I realized this is now or never. Like, it's you either jump in or you don't. And so I took advantage of this opportunity. It was presented to me. You should create your own fragrance brand now. Not next year, not in 2 years when you might be ready. Let's just do it.
I might be, mistaken, but I don't think Sephora is handing out many fragrance offers to people.
And the crazy thing is, it wasn't so much like we're gonna do this for you and like give you the money and like build it for you. Right. We're giving you a pathway to learn from the best people in the industry in retail on how you can have a successful fragrance brand in retail, right? And it's up to you whether you absorb this advice and utilize it. But it was one of those things where I've always thought sometimes you take an opportunity, and even if I apply and don't get in, now I'm aware of it because I didn't even think that the Accelerate was for brands that were pre-launch. Because at this point, all I'd had was a LLC.
Girl. You're right. I hadn't thought about it. Usually I do think of Sephora Accelerate being for existing brands.
In fact, I didn't even have product to send in whenever the application
just a dream.
Send in prototypes. I was like, maybe all I got is vibes. All I got is vibes. Like,
you're like, but if you give me some time.
So I wrote like a creative brief for the fragrance that I wanted to create. I submitted it. And then they came back and said, we loved your application. We'd love to do an interview. And so, I mean, I went through I just want to make it very clear. This is not like a Nepo situation where I like just skipped the line. Like I did have to apply. I did have to interview, but I'm very fortunate that I made it to the finals. And through that, I did gain a lot of really important insight regarding what can you do to enter this fragrance space and do it in a way that's so distinct and true to you. And interestingly enough, like I did have some pushback, even like while I was in like working with Sephora. They were like, hey, like we think like maybe this vision might be a little bit too like high end for our Sephora customer. Like maybe, scale it back a little bit. Like maybe, and even other founders, they said you can grow into the vision that you want. And I just thought, I don't know. I didn't come all this way to do that.
Yeah.
And so I went full scale ahead with the fragrances I wanted to create, the packaging. And when I presented it, oh my gosh, it was just like the heavens opened up. Everybody was just dazzled. Like it was insane. I've had people at Sephora that said, this launch is going to be the highlight of my career. Like,
oh my God, wait, I'm sorry. Okay, we're going to get into the sense in a second, but where are you sourcing? Like where are the fragrance? Where are you sourcing your fragrances? Talk to me about the packaging.
Yeah.
I want to get into the weeds of the building it.
So interestingly enough, when it came time to figuring out packaging, I went to a few different packaging expos where there's so many different vendors that will show you, hey, these are bottles and boxes, and these are all the different components that we can make for you. And everything I wanted to do was expensive. And
yes.
I mean, yeah, of course.
What do you know? Well, yes.
And it's funny because every time I would bring an idea to my team, they're like, oh, that's going to cost a lot. And I'm like, I know, but I mean, what other option is there? And so there's, of course, ways you can create products without going custom. You can do products that are already like created by the factory. But there was just one, I had a stroke of luck where I found a vendor that I could work with directly without having to go through a middleman. The middleman is what ends up costing you more. So by going to this vendor directly and working with them directly, I was able to get custom everything, bottles, caps, packaging, like everything top of the line. And it's funny because I'll tell you that after I created everything and put it together, I had a meeting with a guy that owns several fragrance brands. This guy's like been in the fragrance industry for like 30 years. And when I showed him my packaging, he was like, I think we have the same vendor for the for the glass. He said, your glass is so nice. This is really heavy.
Can I hold the glass?
Oh, of course. I gotta give you a visual.
Yeah, now I'm like, it's so pretty.
So gorgeous.
And it's heavy.
Heavy. He said, my bottles cost $400. Like we sell them at retail for $400. He said, what's your price point? I said, $150. He said, how? How are you making money selling this for $150?
This is what you were telling me about it, because one thing about me, I'm going to lose a top to a fragrance.
It has a very satisfying click. It's like ASMR.
I know, I'm like. Which one is this?
This is Gold Standard.
Gold Standard.
This is for, I feel like it's very you. Because the idea with creating this fragrance is that you walk into the room and you're setting the standard because you're the best smelling person in that room.
It smells very wealthy for me.
It
smells like I drive a Porsche.
I don't,
Porsche. Not yet. But it smells like
you have a wealthy chuckle.
Wait, but this is heavy.
Yes.
So his bottles
retail for $400.
But he has a middleman.
No, I don't know. I don't know if they use a middleman, but he said this glass quality is really similar to, it's a very nice glass quality.
So then how does that impact your margins?
That's the thing. I'm working directly with the vendor, baby.
You're like, so your margins, this is, okay. So, and these are sourced from, the bottles are sourced from what country? Is it
a vendor?
Yeah, I know that's right.
You know what? It's fun. You know what?
She
I'll
said,
tell
I'm
you this.
not giving you that.
I've had so many people ask me that same question when I was at Sephora. They
Yes.
said, Funmi, we cannot believe this is how your packaging looks when you raised you didn't have a major backer. You didn't have a major VC,
Correct.
a major investor. Like we've worked with brands that had millions of dollars at launch to use to create a new fragrance line, and their packaging doesn't look this good.
And
so
it's
they
heavy.
were asking me too. They said, "Who's your vendor?" I said, "Why would I tell y'all? Like y'all have
That is true. Why would you?
All of these brands that have millions of dollars
Yes.
to spend, you have more resources than I
Why
do.
would little old me?
Yeah, I'm giving that to you. If you want to invest, I'd be happy to have a conversation.
Well, so I want to talk about that. Do you have investors?
I do have angels. I have amazing angels.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was able to raise from angel investors, which I'm so grateful for them because every single one came at the most critical time when I needed the money, whether it was a deposit for my bottles or boxes, a deposit for maybe a vendor I was working with, even just when I was seeking out people to hire on my team, I would suddenly find an angel and it would just be at a time where I had to pay 4 people, or I had this insane invoice that needed to be paid in a week.
Yep.
One time I looked at my bank account, I said, baby, I didn't even got enough to buy a cheeseburger.
I've been there.
How am I going to pay $100K in a week? Where am I supposed to find this? It's not enough foot pictures I can sell.
You're but you know what though? I think that's proof of alignment and timing. And like you said, your ability, people like you.
Yeah.
The girls like you. It really matters. Now I have to ask, are you nervous launching full retail versus doing initial launch D2C? Or are you doing D2C option? Or is it just Sephora?
No, I actually have both. So I have a D2C channel.
Okay.
And then we have Sephora as our retailer.
Okay.
And I think for me it was a very strategic alliance because I really believe that while people do buy fragrances online, sight unseen, there are people that still like to go into the store.
100%.
There are people that still like to buy through a trusted vendor, and Sephora is a trusted vendor globally. I want to emphasize that one of the main reasons why Sephora felt like a good partner for me is because Sephora is one of the very few global retail partners. I went into Sephora in Shanghai. I've gone to Sephora in Canada, in France, in Italy, in London. There's Sephora in Australia. There's Sephora globally.
There is.
And there's not an Ulta globally. There's not a Selfridges globally. And so for me, I see Inflections as a global brand because fragrance is a language everyone understands, regardless of their culture.
Yeah.
And so why wouldn't I want to be in Shanghai? Why wouldn't I want to be in Australia? Why wouldn't I want to be in Nigeria? Why wouldn't I want to be in Italy?
Everywhere.
I want to be everywhere.
So how many doors are you opening with?
We're opening with stores in September. 10 stores specifically.
10 stores. Okay, I was like, okay.
I was like,
are you allowed to tell me where those 10 stores are?
So we're actually so we're opening 10 stores, which I think is a really good number for a new brand.
It's not too much.
It's not too much. We got 10 stores in cities where I have very strong support with my audience. So we have like New York, we have Atlanta, of course, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, we have Miami, Vegas, and LA.
That's so good. 10 stores is so good. And that was, I think, too, when I had mentioned, before, like founders not having great experiences. And that's in retail in general. Mm-hmm. They open with, too many. They kick off with too many stores.
And I've seen that consistently. I actually just saw a video from the brand We The People. Yes. And they're talking about how they're doing a relaunch with fragrance. And one of the things that she said she learned early with her first launch into body care, is that they opened in way too many stores. She said they did 300 stores and it just became really difficult to sustain that much growth. And so for me, I'm staying like very close to slow and steady. Keep it exclusive. Keep it like, let's build the demand and meet the demand as it's growing versus over assuming and then scrambling. I don't like to scramble.
Yeah, I can tell.
I don't.
What's your sign?
I'm a Virgo.
I know. Why did I know that? I was like, Funmi gives Virgo. All Virgo women that I know, there's a similar through line that you all have, and it's strict,
very,
and it's organized, and that is what I love. Okay, so what is launch day?
Launch day is July 27th at Sephora.com, and then July 28th on our personal website.
Okay,
so you can actually shop either one. I always, because people ask me, where do you want me to shop? I said, shop where you like to shop. If you want to shop at Sephora and build your Sephora points, shop at Sephora.
Okay.
If you want to shop on my website and support directly through our website, I want to make it, I also want to add this, as a new brand, one of the complaints I see a lot and I observe from people that shop online is, I ordered, but this vendor took forever.
Correct.
The warehouse lost my order. The product took weeks to ship out. I spent a lot of time shopping for a good warehouse.
Okay.
And those are the kinds of costs that come in that they do end up costing you more. So when I said, this is how much money I've spent to launch this brand, a lot of people will say, well, I didn't need to spend that. But I'm paying for a top of the line warehouse production facility that's in the US on demand, because for me, I don't want people shopping, especially as a Black owned brand. You're under such a microscope.
Yeah.
I said, hey, what is your all's, turnaround time for orders? Like, oh, we ship within a day. Okay, perfect. I don't want people coming and saying it took me 3 months to get my order. What are the things, the protections you do for when you're packaging orders? I don't want someone to say, well, I bought this perfume and then I got sent the wrong thing, because I need accountability.
100%.
And you pay for it.
100%.
But the thing is, you pay for it. But the thing is, it's an investment in enduring quality. And for me, Influxious represents quality and excellence without compromise. I didn't want to compromise on excellence anywhere.
And I'm happy that you touched lightly on the plight of Black founders. We see what's happened with Amikole. We're watching, Olamide just made that video talking about how bread, she said it essentially, the launch did no sales.
Insane.
Which is, I just couldn't even fathom. I don't want to say, are you nervous, but are there things that you are conscious of so that you can not, like I said, do too much coming off, of an initial launch? What are some things that you're thinking about as a Black founder specifically in terms of sustaining this brand?
Marketing and also global appeal. Because while I'm a Black owned brand, I also want this to be a brand people purchase because the product is good, and for me, I spent the last several years really cementing myself as an authority on fragrance, and also making it very clear, like, this is not a merch line. Like, this isn't like, I'm a fan of Funmi, so I'm buying this product because I like Funmi. Like, this is not like I white labeled this and just picked it out of a catalog and put my name on it. Like, this is several years of research, me going back to school and getting education, but also working with the best in the industry. From the fragrance house I worked with, the best they're nominated, the fragrance house itself, they work with several brands that are nominated for awards tonight. So
fabulous. So
I looked at them,
they have proof of concept.
Proof of concept.
Yeah.
And then my perfumers are some of the best perfumers in the industry.
Okay.
I work with an amazing vendor for my packaging. Like I said, my warehousing, production, like everything were people that were recommended by. I said, I need a letter of recommendation before you come in through this door, because this is too big of an endeavor for me to now be risky with, okay, well, let me just take a chance and see, like.
Correct.
It's interesting because one of the things I did when I was starting the business was I was like, I want to give so many people a chance, like up and coming. But I realized sometimes up and coming people don't have a proof of concept. And this project is too big for me right now to have there's I can't be chasing after people and micromanaging.
Yep.
I need people that like
Yep.
can come in, do
Yep.
what they need to do, and actually like be ahead of it.
So I want to talk about the name because you told me that you came up with Inflectious when you were like
In high school.
in high school.
Insane. So long. It's literally been on my heart for 20 years. I actually found a screenshot from like an email I'd sent like with the Inflectious username. And I said, it took me 20 years to manifest this. This is
Wow.
so insane.
Slow and steady, though.
Slow and steady.
What does Inflectious mean?
Inflectious is a combination of two words, influence and luxurious. Influence represents...
You are both.
Thank you. Well, influence, and not influencer, but influence represents the people and things you encounter in life. You know, like everything that we do in life, and this ties back to mental health, is about who we meet, right? What we do, and all of those things influence us indirectly, like maybe with our behavior, maybe with how we think about life, our outlook. And then luxurious, which I see it not as labels, but as the softness of life, the ability to luxuriate. So influxious is the things that influence us, but that still allows us to retain softness. Love it.
And I love that you had mentioned bringing people and wanting to bring people on. I want to ask you about those in the fragrance space. What is the best advice you've gotten from somebody big in the fragrance space, and what was it?
Ooh, there's so much advice that I've gotten, honestly, like, because I'm really fortunate that I have so many amazing founder friends, like everyone from
You're
Mona
everywhere,
with
Funmi.
Kayali.
You're everywhere.
I know.
With everyone. I was going to ask about Mona.
Mona and Kayali, Chris Collins with World of Chris Collins, Jackie and Dennis with Forever Mood. I mean, they offered, so many people have offered me amazing advice, but I think the main thing that I've taken from all of them is really just staying true to your vision. And it's interesting because you'll get pushback. Like even Sephora, you know, I've had pushback.
Correct.
And ultimately, when everything came together, you know what they told me? We love that you stay true to your vision. And they said it's so incredible because when you talk about your brand, we really see the passion and it reflects in the completed project. So they said kudos to you, because a lot of people will bend the knee and acquiesce and say, well, this is what I need to do. I guess this is what I got to do. But in my mind, I'm like, no, you don't understand. I know you don't see it yet. Like I got a vision. I just need the platform, you know? And so when it came together, you end up looking like a genius, you know, because at first you do look crazy, like saying, I want to do this. I want to do custom. I want to do custom. And people are like, you are broke. You have no money. And it's a lot of people that start things with more money than you and didn't do that. And so it's almost like, well, where are you even seeing that you can, like, you could do this?
Right.
I'm like, well,
I'm not everybody.
I'm going to make it shake. Watch.
I know this is like asking who your favorite child is. Which one of your 4 fragrances at launch? You guys, all 4 are at launch, right?
Yes.
Which one is your favorite?
Okay, so this one has a really interesting story. This is High Life.
Okay.
So all the fragrances were inspired by different parts of my culture, but also botanicals that are native to the African continent. So there's so many different ingredients here that we resource that were just really interesting. But High Life is my favorite fragrance because every year for my birthday, I always buy a new fragrance. And so you know how like people have birthday makeup? I have a birthday fragrance.
What was your last birthday fragrance?
My last birthday fragrance was this because
Somebody gotta go to this.
I've been wearing this since concept, honestly. But the idea was that essentially, like for my birthday, I pick a fragrance that feels bold and audacious, something that just like makes me feel really celebrated. Like I'm the birthday, like you the birthday,
you the birthday.
So this fragrance is for the girl that wants to feel like you the birthday.
What are the notes?
So for this one, the fragrance itself was inspired by music, specifically Let's Start by Fela Kuti. And his category of music is called High Life, which is a combination of Afrobeats, jazz, and funk. And I feel like this fragrance is a fusion of all the interesting, not only the interesting notes that we use, but the music, the rhythm, how dynamic the fragrance is when it's on your skin. So one of the notes we sourced for this was hibiscus, because there's also a drink in Nigeria called Zobo that features hibiscus, and my friend has a Zobo business. So shout out to Esther. And
did she? I'm asking too many questions.
No, so she actually makes the drink.
Okay,
but the drink is a drink that we have in Nigeria that features hibiscus.
Got it.
So this features hibiscus, blueberry, raspberry, pink pepper, rose, which I'm a rose girl, so I had to find a way to incorporate rose. And then we also did a West African frankincense. So this fragrance just smells like
It does
You're
smell
going to go out.
lively.
And also, I was thinking about the girls that love to do Dirty December and how, like, you know,
I'm
you
trying
put
to
your
go. I'm
perfume
trying
on
to
at
go this
11
year.
p.m. and
Yep.
you're crawling home at 7 a.m.
Yep.
That fragrance has got to stick to
It
you all
does.
night. And
It
this
does.
fragrance is the fragrance that's going to stick with you all night.
Okay, I'm so excited for me, and I'm so happy for you. I really am so happy for you. Now, I want to get into the weeds of your personal life.
Okay.
We've mentioned Chris Collins twice.
Oh.
Now, here's the thing. For those who don't know, Chris Collins is the best looking man in fragrance. I don't think that is up for discussion. He is, in fact, when I was doing the story in 2020 and somebody was like, you should look up Chris Collins, I said, God damn.
Right.
I was like,
oh,
who is this?
And fun fact, he's a twin. So his mom, I said, shout out to your
Where's
mom.
the second one? Why is the second
Very
one
low-key,
hidden from us?
I saw him in Dubai last year. We were having dinner and he was saying something about his birthday celebration and how he was celebrating with his brother. I was like, oh, you guys have the same birthday. That's so cute. He's like, yeah, he's my twin. Oh, like your mother had
There's
two of
them?
you? Shout out to your genetics.
Now,
Wow.
it was so funny because when I was researching for this, I didn't realize that people thought that you and Chris were dating.
No, it's so funny because
I
people
love those
really
rumors
thought
for
it.
you, though.
Like I did a story time on my burner account about like a guy that had like stood me up for a date, and people were like, "How dare Chris?" I said, "Oh, that's just a PR relationship, guys."
You're like, wait, what? We're not like.
I was like, "Oh, that's." It was just. I kind of made a joke. I was like, "Guys, it's a PR relationship. We're just."
That's the video I saw. Like it's a fake PR.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about support with other Black fragrance founders, especially him. He is a trailblazer of sorts. He was in, is it Bergdorf's?
Yes.
Was what he was the first in retailers. Speaking to him and other Black fragrance founders who have been able to break into that luxury space, what has those conversations been like?
It's interesting because one of my earliest conversations with Chris actually happened during the pandemic. Before I even considered doing a fragrance brand or going on TikTok, I was on Clubhouse in one of the beauty rooms, and he was a featured speaker talking about fragrance. And something he said that stood out to me was that when he entered the fragrance space, he had a mentor, and it was Killian Hennessy.
Killian is he's so fun.
He's so fun.
He's so fun.
So charming.
You haven't been to a party till you've been to a Killian party. Yeah.
And so he said, like, you know, this guy's been my mentor in this space and how it was so helpful having someone who's already so established and successful to give you advice. And so with starting my fragrance brand, there were a lot of times when mentally I would think to myself, well, I don't want to reach out because I don't want to seem like a nuisance, or I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm doing. Or, you know, I don't want them to look down on me because maybe this is a stupid question. And, you know, they might say, wow, Funmi, like, if you can't figure that out, you're good luck with the fragrance brand.
Right.
But there were like, and that's where I think my psychology background and therapy, I had to tell myself, these are like, you're limiting yourself by thinking that way. And you can't learn unless you ask. And so there were many times when I reached out to people and I said, hey, I have a question about this. Like, should I do this? And even more recently, I just saw, when we were in Miami, I saw Dennis. I said, Dennis, you saved my life. Because
Dennis so
resourceful.
He's so nice.
Yeah.
Like the first time I hung out with he and Jackie intimately, I was like, that's a good man, Savannah.
Good man, Savannah. And it's funny because Jackie knew. I think she knew I was kind of like holding myself back from, you know, not wanting to seem like a nuisance. And so we were at I think it was the Sephora event last year. She pulls me aside and said, Funmi, seriously, if you have any questions, I promise you, like, we are happy to answer. And she's like, Dennis, listen, here's his number. Call this guy. Like, I promise you anything that you have, because he knows everything.
Yeah.
So one day I did hit him up. I said, Dennis, I actually do need help with this. And he took a call with me and my sister. She's my CFO. And the way he hooked me up with one of my vendors that I use now, I was like, wow, this saved me so much money. And the guy was so easy to work with. And I would never have known if I hadn't asked them. So I love the Asimos.
What's it like with your sister as your CFO?
Oh, it's really rough. She's strict. Oh my gosh, she's so strict.
She's stricter than you.
Oh, she's stricter than me. She's a Taurus.
Okay, she's
strict. And I think a lot of times when you tell people, like, I have family that's working for me in a certain role, they're like, are they called? My sister's an accountant. Okay. So she's worked with huge businesses and startups. It's just, she's very strict. My problem is I am... My eyes are bigger.
You're a dreamer.
You know, I'm a dreamer. And so I want to do this. She's like, no, we don't have money. And I'm mad. Now I have an attitude during the rest of the meeting. And the rest of the team is like, sisters are fighting. So one of the people I recently onboarded actually is a supply chain operations person. So now those two work directly. So when my sister
says... They can drive each other nuts.
Yeah, no. Well, when my sister says no to something, the supply chain person is like, I agree. And then they tell me, and I'm like, oh.
Now they're trying to jump you, Funmi.
I mean, to be honest, it's a little easier coming from the middleman. Because if it's my sister, I'm like, how dare you? I'm the bigger sister. Like, I'm the older sister. Like, what do you mean I can't do that? But when it comes from them, I'm like, when it comes from the middle person, I'm like,
You're like, okay, I
it's
get it.
very reasonable.
I get it.
I get it.
Now,
So,
going back to your personal life, are you dating? I've been asking these questions to women like myself who are unmarried, successful. The careers just keep growing. Are you dating? Do you want to date? How do you feel? What space are you in with dating?
You know what? Right now, I'm not dating, but it's not because of anything besides I'm just so busy. You know, honestly, I'm in different cities, different countries so frequently. It's so hard for me to put my energy into getting to know someone. Like all the people in my life right now are people I already know. And they understand, okay, Fumi's schedule's crazy. Like sometimes she'll take a few days to respond. Sometimes she'll call back in like a day or two. Sometimes she's not here. But they're understanding of that. I think sometimes meeting a new person, it can be hard for them to feel like they're not being prioritized. And I also don't want to make someone feel that way. Like I think it's not fair to start something. It's kind of, you know, that saying that, okay, I'm gonna say it. You know, people say like, if you're like men that are broke shouldn't date because you should focus on getting your money up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, get your money up and then date.
Yeah. Priorities.
I feel the same way about like building my business. Like right now, 100% of my energy is going into building my business.
Okay.
And so I don't have anything else. Like I don't have any other really time or energy to nurture something new.
Yeah.
And so I feel like maybe when things are a little bit lighter, like maybe I have a little bit more wiggle room. Like I'm so open to it. Like I am
Are you a lover girl?
A lover girl
Yeah.
deep down.
Yeah.
But I also believe in being fair to people and understanding like I don't have the capacity for that right now. So it's better for me not to do that.
What's your favorite fragrance on a man?
Oof. Okay, so it's actually Straight to Heaven by Killian. I love that fragrance. It's so good. It's so good.
I could see that now.
I really
Yes.
like it. I always tell people Straight to Heaven by Killian.
Please get rid of the Dior.
You
and
know,
I love Dior.
Sauvage Thelioma
But
is an
Dior,
epidemic.
the Sauvage, we must put it.
We must.
We must put aside. Like it smells like Dior Sauvage smells like a man who drives a red Charger, who will cheat on you.
And who will message you in the morning saying Grand Rising.
Grand Rising. like that is what Dior Sauvage.
It does.
So I used to love it. You know, when I was in college and the college guys were, now I'm like, oh no, please.
You know what's funny? I feel the same way. It doesn't smell bad. Like it's not like it stinks.
Not at all.
But to me, it's actually a very low effort fragrance. And I feel like a low effort fragrance, it's a low effort man. Because
okay, define that. So like, talk to me about the low effort fragrance part.
So you walk into Macy's, you're a man, and you say, I'm looking for a new cologne. They obviously are going to show you Dior Sauvage because it's the most popular fragrance, right? Or Eros by Versace. And you smell it and you're like, I guess. And you just buy it because it's like,
cool. Because
cool.
To your point, they smell good.
Yeah.
They don't smell, they do smell good.
But it's like, you didn't even take the time to walk around and smell a few other things to even see whether like this suits your taste. Because maybe you're like an outdoorsy guy. Like you might like a fragrance that's a little bit more grassy and earthy. Or maybe if you're like an office guy, you might like something that's a little clean and citrusy. Maybe you're a Creed guy. You don't know because you bought Sauvage. You didn't even smell anything else. And I feel like it's, and I think, I feel like, and I could be wrong. This is just me, you know, I think it applies to so many different areas of your life too. Because I think if you can't take the time to find things for yourself, you also can't do that intentionally with like other people. So imagine you go on a date with a guy and you say, well, okay, I like coffee. And instead of researching, let me find the best coffee spot in New York or a really cool maybe the best matcha spot in New York. He's like, oh, you like coffee? Let's go to Dunkin' Donuts.
And Dunkin' does have good coffee for everybody. Dunkin' has spectacular coffee. But it's not first date. It's not first date coffee.
No, because now I told you something I like, and you didn't take the time to even research a place that like matches that vibe. Because it's not 100%. Like, oh, let's do a $300 steak dinner. But even if it's like, well, I love matcha. Well, you know what? Let's go to the best matcha spot in Brooklyn.
I agree. And
so I feel like,
Funmi.
Is that making sense?
Oh,
like,
it's making a ton of sense. Oh, it made a ton of sense.
So it's like, it's no shade because it is a good cologne the way Dunkin' is a good donut and coffee shop.
Correct.
But it's like, dang, like
low effort.
You didn't even take the time to try to make it a little bit more unique.
So what's a good first date fragrance for the girlies?
Ooh. Okay, so let's talk about Well Loved. I think Well Loved is a great first date fragrance because this is such a comforting fragrance that just really gives this. It's a new category that we created. It's like it's a skin scent for, I think, the Black woman. Because when I think about skin scents in the fragrance industry, a lot of times they're very clean, powdery, soapy. Like that's what people think of clean 100%. Laundry. Yep. But I think a clean like skin scent, I'm like, well, my mom used to rub shea butter and cocoa butter on my skin. Like head to toe, I was greasy, but I went to bed.
But you can always
well
tell you can tell when a child is loved on picture day when they're greased up.
And that's why the fragrance is called Well Loved. Because, it's a fragrance that you put on that it reminds you of someone took the time to apply this to your skin. It's like it's such an act of love to make sure that after your child takes a bath, you rubbed oils and butters on them to protect their skin. And you look at them, you can tell, like, well moisturized, well loved, well dressed, well mannered. We love it.
High effort. It goes back to what you just said. It's effort and intention.
And so we did that with Well Loved. With this fragrance, our shea butter is the heart of this fragrance.
That is so interesting. As a fragrance.
Yeah. And so this is our like elevated skin scent. It does have some floral notes. We did like tuberose and magnolia, but the shea butter, like every single person that smelled the fragrance, they said, oh my God, it smells like someone you love gave you a hug.
And it smells like shea butter in a way that does not smell like shea butter, if that makes sense. Like it is such an elevated, no offense to the guys on 125th, but this doesn't, sometimes the smell of shea butter can be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
This is so well balanced. I'm going to be honest. When you said the shea butter was the initial one, I was kind of like, I don't think I'm going to love that. But that is fantastic. It's really good. Really good.
Now, and this goes back to what I said earlier about using notes in a way that it might sound a little challenging, but it makes the fragrance interesting and it contributes to the fragrance story.
Yes.
Because even when I talk about blueberry, when I say, okay, this fragrance has blueberry,
we were talking about that one on the boat.
People will think, oh, maybe like a blueberry muffin. But no, we used it in a way that it bounces really beautifully with these florals.
Yes.
So it smells like very dynamic and very chic.
Now, I have to talk about this because you look fantastic. And before we wrap up, you look stunning. And a few years ago, you took us on your de-auntie journey, which I thought was so transparent because I think so often I recently have kind of found myself in like how we change. I think nobody talks about when you get into your 30s, you almost want a full overhaul of how you present. Like there's like this full, like, I've been wearing less. I've been, like all of these things, like you want to shift how you present, whether it be more conservative or less. What was that process like of identifying that, I want to de-auntie myself, and what made you decide to actually share that with us?
I thought about it was a makeover, but it wasn't just a makeover as in like I was trying to be like, okay, now I'm trying to transform to a baddie. Like it wasn't like a baddie makeover. It was I feel like I'm aging myself, honestly, with how I wear my hair, with how I dress, with how I do my makeup, and even like how I carry myself. I think a lot of times, like when people are chasing respectability, it can sometimes present itself in a way that like I want people to see me as like I'm like mature and I want people to take me seriously. And I realized looking back, I'm like, God, like it's so stodgy, so boring, And so by going into a de-auntie process, it was about finding a way to present myself the way I see myself and to present myself as the best version of myself in this era that I'm living in. Like this is such a transformational time for me in my 30s because honestly, like especially as a Nigerian woman, I'm not married, I don't have kids, I'm 35. And so like for a lot of people it's like, hang it up, grandma, but for me, I'm like, no, I'm really getting into my groove, Now I have the money that matches my taste. That's great.
That's a blessing.
That's a blessing.
Hey, I was with somebody. Shout out to my girl Flo. She's a photographer. She looked at me. She said, Blake, I can always tell when the girls is making money. I said, thank you. That is the best compliment ever.
It does feel really good to hear.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, because it's about elevation.
Yeah.
And so all of it was also about me finding more time to be intentional regarding my personal style, finding things that it's not just, oh, I saw this on an influencer and it looked good on them. But then like, there's so many, like I was going through my closet, I'm like, oh my God, I bought all these things that look good on other people. I didn't even think about how it would look good on me. Mm-hmm. And just taking that time to get to know myself. Color. I love color, Also, like I love a work uniform. I love a nice trouser, pant, and a pointy toe. But all of those things, and then hair. Found an amazing hairstylist, makeup, but taking the time to do those things that look good for you. And so I posted my photos from the Miami trip to
you was looking like a hot girl.
And someone said de-auntie process complete. Like
it is. Do you think that the de-auntieing, say that 3 times fast. Do you think that the de-auntieing process is complete?
I think it's an ongoing process. I think that once you enter, there's always ways to continue refining. because there's little things. Like, for example, I started an Invisalign journey last year because I said, what, I'd love to have a beautiful smile when I'm on the cover of Forbes.
Getting my teeth done, I think, unlocked something completely different in me too.
So it's like little things that you refine. Even like my lash girl, she did a different style of lashes for me recently.
They look great.
She said, "Oh, this is so good. Like, I think it's a little bit, like, just a little tweak." So it's like, it's little tweaks along the way. But it's like, it's understanding that once you enter the journey, you stay in it. Like, you don't just get comfortable and say, okay, I'm done. Reached my peak. It's finding ways to continue to refine yourself.
And you really have such a young face, Funmi. Like, you have a 20-something face.
Girl.
Sometimes it really is about, and I get the same thing. I had talked about it in that TikTok video where I introduced myself. Like, people cannot believe that I'm 31. Like, I get it all the time.
I didn't know you were. I thought you were in your 20s.
I'm 30. Oh, stop, Diva, stop. But usually it really is like, it's how we act, right? Yeah. It's and to your point about being Black women and the respectability, I think when I came out of the respectability politics of it all.
Loosening up, like literally just the ability to laugh at yourself, like loosening. Honestly, the biggest part of the Deontay part is just loosening up. Just like, oh, okay, you know what? I made a video about how someone had commented on one of my videos one time and said, the wig is tired, sis. I said, you know what? It was. And it was. And I found a new hairstylist.
You can think of
like, I blocked you, but shout out to
don't get me started on the comments.
Anonymous username.
Yes.
Like, you're blocked, so you'll never see that I did change. But like, thank you, because realistically, I mean, you are.
I've had girls comment. It hasn't been frequent, but I have had a girl comment, this outfit ain't hitting, sis.
I blocked them, but also low-key, like, it wasn't my best look.
This was not my best look. Right. I know I can dress.
Yeah.
But you're right.
But that was rude.
That was rude. But you're right. This isn't my best work. So of course this show is called According to Blake, but we have a segment. This one is, of course, presented by our friends over at Brown Sugar Babe. This one, it is called According to Funmi, and we are going to tie it back to fragrance and mental health. Okay. So I'm going to say an emotion, and you are going to tell me what note to you matches that emotion. Okay. So according to Funmi, happiness smells like
vanilla. To me, it's just so pure.
I love vanilla. Remorse smells like
a mineral amber, like something kind of wet, something kind of metallic. Because I think about tears and, like, it almost has like a metallic kind of salty taste. So something mineral.
Anger smells like
cinnamon. Something red hot.
That makes me think of the cinnamon challenge. I don't know why it was like cinnamon challenge. Sadness smells like
a petrichor note, which is like a rainy kind of wet, like that smell before the rain. Sadness.
Empowerment smells like.
I always like citrus because it's so uplifting, like something like Aventus by Creed. To me, that's like my boss babe fragrance.
A hot girl summer smells like.
Oh, something fruit. It smells like Magic Hour, because Magic Hour, we did a vacation fragrance that has like watermelon, dragon fruit. We did a chili pepper note, and all 4 fragrances actually also have Nigerian ginger as the golden thread. So you can layer these together. And when I worked with my perfumer, he said, I want to put a little piece of you in each fragrance. So we used Nigerian ginger because it's uplifting.
Yes.
It has a little pizzazz to every single thing it goes in. And so Magic Hour is for the girly that loves to be on vacation. Maybe you're there with somebody's son. Maybe you'll have a reason to sprain your ankles. But also, maybe you're also walking on the beach with a watermelon cocktail and you're enjoying that Magic Hour before the sun sets and it's nighttime.
And to wrap it up, today Funmi smells like
well loved. I'm so happy to be here with you, Blake. I'm so grateful to have a friend like you, and I do sincerely feel like a well loved woman being here.
Oh, thank you, Funmi. Thank you. And tell everybody where they can find you.
You guys can find me on social media as Funmi Monet. I'm the same on all platforms. You can also find influxious.co for our website, all of our social platforms, and of course you can find us at Sephora.com.
Yes, and by the time this comes out, this would have just launched. Funmi, thank you so much for joining me. And I cannot wait to see how you look tonight at the Fragrance Foundation Awards. By this time, you guys will have to go back a little bit, but make sure that you go and check out how she looks. Funmi, thank you.
I gotta go. I got the best styling me, so I'm really excited.
I'm very excited. Peak Mill.
I gotta get
her. Actually, I gotta get her on the show.
You need to get her on the show.
I gotta get her on the show.
She's got a lot of gems.
Okay.
That's a woman that knows how to be put
Let her
together.
know I will be reaching out.
Oh, yeah.
Let her know I'll be reaching out.
Definitely.
Thank you,
guys.
Thank you.